I'm here with Julio Bermejo, Tequila Ambassador to the US, and we're sort of recovering. And we're going to do this interview now on the way to the airport. I want to ask him a few questions. The first question I really want to know about is what was your biggest influence to get involved in the tequila industry?
Well, I'd say, I don't know if it was my biggest, but my first real amazing tequila influence came from drinking it, but not knowing what I was drinking. So growing up as a child, you know, and coming from, or even though I was born in San Francisco, we'd go to the Yucatan a lot. And when we started drinking in around 13, we drank rum and brandy because that was what was available, what everyone else drank in the Yucatan, and it was reasonably affordable. Now, so I had no idea what drinking different spirits was like, and I didn't really dabble in vodka, thank God. I didn't drink whiskeys, it was just, you know, Latin spirits, rum and, you know, a little bit of brandy, like I said. Now, when I came back to the United States, quote unquote, after several summers in Mexico, I started drinking tequila, and I started drinking what I thought was the best tequila available at the time, which was 3Gs. And it was certainly smoother than the other mixtos we carried at Tommy's. But again, I'm snaking these things, I'm a minor, you know, I get wasted, and, you know, it seemed like getting wasted on other things.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
So 3Gs, you mean salsa? Tres Generaciones. What year would this have been, you think?
Man, I'm thinking I was probably like 17 or 18.
Yep.
So, 30 years ago. No, yeah.
Yep.
Something like that. And then we started to carry Herradura at Tommy's. And I started drinking Herradura Reposado. And that kind of changed my life. And that was an epiphany. But I didn't know why. I had no idea why it tasted different. It didn't make me feel bad the next day. But that was it. But then I had a crucial second epiphany in my career that pretty much led me down this path. And that was when a dear friend originally from Seattle, named Brad, who happened to be bartending at a place called Skates on the Bay in Berkeley. And in 1990, or late 1989, which was the first time El Tesoro and Patron were released in the United States, he invited me over to his bar to try these products. And, you know, when I got to his bar and I saw the packages, it was really neat because they were different packages, right? I mean, the mixto tequilas we carried were the standard ubiquitous 1 liter round glass bottles from Mexico.
It's like a pretty standard bottle shape.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so when I saw these bottles, you know, Patron Añejo and Patron Silver and El Tesoro Muy Añejo and El Tesoro Plata, to me they were just eye-openers because I'd never seen, you know, tequilas in that fashion. Not that I had really seen a lot of tequilas anyway. But anyway, so I tried both of those, and I fell in love with El Tesoro Muy Añejo. That blew my mind. And the Patron Añejo was delicious as well. I just had a little bit of preference for what I perceived at the time to be more complexity in the El Tesoro. And from that point on, and I don't know why, I can't explain it either, but I got like a fire in my belly to go want to meet Don Felipe, and there was a blurb on the back of the original bottle that I think is still on the white label that said that this gentleman, Don Felipe Camarena, would go to his agave fields every day and choose the best agaves. And that statement sounded like bullshit to me, so I wanted to see it for myself. And eventually I would set up a tour for myself through Bob Denton, and I would go meet, you know, Don Felipe Camarena, and everything then came into place. It blew my mind, and Whoa. And with most things, it led me to want to learn more. And that's basically how my journey started.
So is there one single person you think? Could that be Don Felipe Camarena?
Well, certainly
Was
in the
your
industry,
influence, or
Well-
not necessarily influence, but someone who stimulated you to...
100% who would, I mean, and I must say as well, Don Guillermo Romo de la Peña, when he was in charge of Herradura, and I got to meet him in one of my first distillery trips to Mexico.
Which would have been when, you think?
Again, 1990.
Yeah.
When I went to visit El Tesoro, I also visited Herradura, I visited Cuervo, and I may have visited another small distillery in Arandas, but I don't remember. But meeting those two guys, and it was huge. I mean, in a way, it was to be the golden age of tequila's renaissance in the largest market in the world. And it was cool because those guys were not only still alive, but running their companies and forging new markets. At that time, for example, Herradura would tell us, or Don Guillermo would tell me, that less than 10% of Herradura was exported outside of Mexico. Now, we were lucky in California, and actually, I think truly blessed in general in San Francisco, that a lot of great products come to our market. But really, Herradura, outside of Jalisco, Mexico City, and major cities, even in Mexico, was unheard of, right? The demand was basically in Jalisco. And to get it here and to meet the people and see how dedicated they were, that would eventually lead to me having my own dreams of trying to do something in the category.